Howdy everyone, here we are again, back at 2 Pines 1 Taco, aka Dipper Goes to Taco Bell. Well, here we are folks, the final stretch. We have to push through this. Ready? 3, 2, 1, continue. Mabel started to go in a kiss-crazy frenzy with Dipper that made it look like Dipper was alive. Tongue went into Dipper's deceased mouth, scraping the feces and cum off the roof of Dipper's mouth. Mabel was shaking even more now. Tongue was touching Dipper's. She unzipped his jeans, slowly slid them off, and threw them at the wall. They stuck there from the cum. Wow. Now that's some pretty tough jizz. I think I'm losing my mind. Sorry about that, folks. I'm about to continue. Mabel was shaking even more now that her tongue was touching Dipper's. She unzipped her jeans, slowly slid them off, then threw them at the wall. They stuck there from the cum. Oh wait, I already read that. I really am losing my mind. Mabel revealed her nice, clean, exposed virgin vagina. She took Dipper's corpse, not noticing the internally bleeding penis, and brought it close to the cervix. She rubbed her clitoris for arousal purposes before she stuck it in, and once the dick was firmly in, she finally felt joy in her life. She loved the feeling of losing it to her dead brother's body, and started to get the oddest feeling. She lost it. She finally lost it. And now I'm gonna fucking lose it! Excuse me again, folks. I need to go do something real quick. Arceus Christ. Why? Arceus, why? What did I do to deserve this, my lord? What did I not do to deserve this, my lord? Oh. Anyway, let's continue. She squealed in happiness and started to French kiss Dipper harder. Her tongue almost touched Dipper's uvula. She kept holding onto his lacerated dick in her vagina and sloshing her tongue all around Dipper's mouth. She kept pulling it in and out with Dipper's stick. Blood was getting on her urethra walls, not noticing one bit. She did not want to leave the body, not now. She would kill herself if it could mean they'd be in coitus forever. If only Dipper could kiss her back. After what seemed like hours, it wouldn't fit in. Mabel finally looked down at the now pretty messed up penis. Mabel couldn't look away from it. It was now swollen to the size of her head, whole mix of rainbow colors and still spewing lifeless cum. How the fuck is that even scientifically possible? Let alone, how the fuck is it even scientifically possible for a human being to be this perverted? Anyway, let's continue. We need to power through this. Mabel vomited on it, which only made it worse. It grew bigger and bigger. Finally, an actual the critic's reaction to this story. Oh, Dipper, she said softly. Then Mabel started to scream. She was horrified at it, the sight of it, and started to barf again. She tried to put in a giant mix of blood, cum, vomit, and feces on the dick, but it didn't work. She tried to suck it all off, but found herself enjoying the sucking and the taste of Dipper's penis blood. She kept sucking on it, tasting the blood and touching and fondling Dipper's dead erectile muscle. She was ecstatic. She was more happy than she'd ever been, more happy than she was before. After squealing with delight, the stall door opened a crack. Mabel took notice of this. Huh? She asked. The door started to open more. It wasn't locked. Once again. Redundant? Much redundant? Mabel started to get nervous. She didn't want to go to jail for necrophilia. She was only a child who bit off more than she could chew. I don't even know what to say. Let's continue. She got too ahead of herself. Pun intended, I hope. After lusting after her twin brothers for so long. If it was the police, she had no hope. She just hoped there was another Taco Bell employee who would listen to her and help her out. The stall door finally burst open. Standing in front of it was a man dressed in black. Oh, remember him, folks? He's gonna be pretty important in this next scene. He had a Taco Bell logo sewn on the left of his fleece jacket. He was wearing squeaky shoes that squeaked across the bathroom floor. He was wearing dark sunglasses. The mysterious man walked up to the two of them slowly. Mabel stood on her feet, feeling blood on her face. The man stared at Mabel for a long time until he finally said, "Are you supposed to be in this bathroom, young lady?" Mabel was shaking in horror now. She turned to face Dipper's naked, violated, dead body, then turned to the man again. "Mister, I didn't intend to do this to my brother," Mabel said, shaking with tears in her eyes. The man brought himself closer to Mabel's face. "Sir, you're in my personal space," Mabel tried to manage. The man was inspecting a red spot on Mabel's cheek. After several seconds, the man touched the spot, trailed his finger in it, and put the finger in his mouth. "Blood," the man said to himself. What did you say, sir?" Mabel asked him, not understanding what he was saying. "Little girl, do you know what this is on your cheek?" the man asked. Mabel repeated what the mysterious man said to her, and said back to him, It's blood." "And with the blood being on your cheek, have you developed, shall we say, a desired taste for it?" the man asked back. Mabel did not notice the retractable chisel in his right hand. Yes, I didn't mean to, I just, shh," the man quieted her. "If you like the addicting taste of it, why didn't you say so?" And without mourning, the man cut her across the chest with the chisel. She screamed at the pain of it. Blood started to pour out of the diagonal cut fast, almost covering her stomach. Here it is, folks. The biggest part. And believe me, it is intense, with a capital I. "You can lick that up. Your blood probably tastes better than that kid's," the man said, pointing to Dipper. Then the man gave her another cut across her face. She screamed again, louder this time. "Now you can get the blood close to your face." And just to make sure you're silent, the man slid her across the neck. She could not scream this time. The man went into her neck and pulled out 3 vocal cords. The man stretched the cords out and he jumped rope with them. What the fuck? Actually, yeah. That's exactly what the story is. What the fuck? Anyway, let's continue. Slashing Mabel across the face several times. While her face was cut so many times that her nose fell off, the man decided it was time for the scalping. He took out a bigger knife and slammed it right down above Mabel's eyebrows. The man gripped the knife's handle, still in her face, and began to make a deep cut. The man put all his strength into it because he decided to make the hardest part first. He tried to do it right on the skin, but sadly did not do the job he liked. Mabel's head was now topless, the top of her skull exposed and violently cut so you could see her brain inside the skull. The pieces of muscle and flesh were still attached to Mabel's hairy scalp, so the man cut them off. The scalp was now as thin as skin and still full of Mabel's hair. He hung the scalp up on the whore of the door. It would be his prize, something he kept for himself. Now the man prepared for the rest of the body. What he wanted to do next was make it rain, not water as you may think. No shit, Sherlock. He wanted it to rain something else. He got down to Mabel's blood-covered slashed chest, grabbed her not fully developed breast, and began to cut off Mabel's nipples. Once he was done, the blood started to come out like Old Faithful geyser. He was amazed at the sight of the fountain of blood and began to dance around in the stall. What the fuck? Stepping in all the fluids that were on the floor. When the blood was starting to flow a little less slowly, the man moved on to the legs. The man hung Mabel's nipples next to the scalp. The nips were his prize too, and started to cut off Mabel's legs. He started to cut faster than a race car driver on a smooth asphalt track. Cuts kept appearing on her kneecaps until the cat bone was exposed. By that time, her lower legs and her body were only attached by a thin string of cartilage. But then the guy moved on to her toes, with the knife as sharp as knife. No shit, Sherlock. Again. He cut every one of her little toes off. Mabel's body was losing so much blood that she started to flatten out. The place where it was most coming out was her toes. Toe blood was making a sea of red on the floor. The man, now with his Taco Bell fleece jacket splattered with red on it, now dug the knife into Mabel's left foot. He began to make another cut similar to what he did to her scalp and began to cut the skin off the foot. The cut was much better than what he did to the scalp. He did the same to the other foot, then hung the skin up next to the scalp. Mabel's feet were just a big mess of flesh, muscle, blood, and nerves. Mabel, who was still alive's face was now completely exposed to all the cuts she was getting, her mouth hanging open like a gaping person. The blood was already covering her chest since the man already And since the man actually had a soul, really? That's a soul? He didn't want to subject the little girl to the misery she was about to endure. So he took a long knife and stabbed her in the middle of the chest where her heart was. Blood poured out more than her cut-off nipples did. Once most of the blood was done spewing, the man got down to Mabel's bloody vagina. He very carefully took his knife down near the cervix and stuck the knife's blade up the hole. While Mabel's cock caved, the man was rotating the knife, cutting up the walls of Mabel's egg chamber. The tip finally got inside of it and very carefully snipped off every one of Mabel's fallopians. It was a very hard job. He had to be very careful. He'd done it many times before, but today wasn't his best day. He accidentally slit some of the sides of Mabel's vagina, cutting into the muscle around it. The man was very embarrassed. Shit, hopefully no one will notice that, he said to himself. He took the knife out of Mabel's hole with ovaries and 2 fallopians on the blood-covered blade. The man got out a big plastic trash bag and scraped the knife on it, making the contents on it go into the bag. Since the knife's handle was covered in more blood than it usually was, he accidentally let it slip and it dug into Mabel's right shoulder. Perfect, the man said ominously. The man got out a pair of vinyl gloves and put them on his hands. He gripped the knife tightly, wanting a deeper cut than he had before. After a while, after digging and digging and digging, the man's knife got through to the other side. Once the man saw the job he did, he threw his arm in the trash bag. He felt great pride, and he felt that he could easily achieve his goal now. So he went to the other side of Mabel's nearly skinned body and began to cut that arm off. It was easier to do than the other one, surprisingly, and once he was done with that, he threw that arm into the garbage bag. Mabel's body was now almost flat due to all the blood loss. The man tasted some of it and thought he could get a jar for later. Now for the legs. The man did the same with her legs, and they felt that they were getting easier to cut off each time. The legs were off, and the man threw it in the bag. Mabel's body was flat now. Almost all the blood from her body was gone. Embracing Mabel's dismembered body, he hugged it, licking the remaining blood off, and put the body in the bag. The man now just noticed Dipper on the floor and figured, he must have caused all this on the walls. Another one couldn't hurt, the man said to himself, and started cutting off Dipper's appendages. He did it in the same order and same manner as Mabel's. It was all done quickly and put all of it in the bag as well. Now it was time to clean up. As you can imagine, the bathroom stall was a big mess of fluids. The man got out a big chisel and started to chisel to come off the walls and into the bag. It took a while, about 2 or 3 hours. Once it was done, he needed to clean the floor, so he went outside the stall and got a mop that he had with him the whole time. He mopped the whole mess of things up off the floor and into the bag until the floors and walls looked respectable. For a fast food bathroom, anyway. The man got out some toilet cleaner and cleaned the toilet, because it was way more messier than the stall itself. After a few minutes, the toilet cleaning was over and the stall was as clean as a new car. It smelled like it, too. The man left the bathroom and the stall waited, ready for its next victim. The man got out of the bathroom and went into the back kitchen of the Taco Bell. He got near a machine. It was an old-looking machine. It had a crank on the side, a funnel on the top, something shaped like a taco on the side near a conveyor belt. Why do I have to do everything myself? The man questioned. Hung up his blood-stained jacket and sunglasses, revealing his Taco Bell employee uniform. It was spotless. The man took the bag and one by one started to put the body parts into the funnel. Once the bag was half empty, he kept on putting more parts in, only this time he turned the crank. Once the bag was empty, out popped the 2 tacos. They weren't really tacos, really. They were actually human body parts in the shape of tacos. They went down the conveyor belt and the employees, using spray cans, began to paint the body parts. Once they got to the Taco Bell tissue paper at the end of the conveyor belt, they looked like genuine tacos. The man grabbed one of the tacos, wrapped it in tissue paper, and went to the front of the counter. He handed it to the old man cashier, then went to the depths of the kitchen. "Here's your taco, sir," the cashier said to the fat customer. "You're welcome," Sue said, handing the cashier the money. Well, folks, that was the end of the story. Thank God! Thank God! Oh, fucking Arceus, thank Arceus, it's over! Anyway, folks, that's all the time we have for today, but remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Pika's Sadistic Storytime. See you then!